probably about 3 more years. Then I got into that teenage period where playing the guitar just didn't seem to be the right thing to do. So I quit. I quit the guitar, and then somehow I got a dog. Somebody gave me a dog. By this time I was 15, and I said, "What am I going to do with a dog?" Couldn't keep him in the house, so I had to build a doghouse. So I was into a guy always doing projects. Where I got the wood and all, I'll never know. But I made a pretty nice doghouse for him. Of course, it wasn't a peaked roof, it was a flat roof. But I had all kinds of tar paper on it, and it was well insulated on the outside, and a lot of cedar shavings on it, and that's where I kept him outside. And he was chained. And then I broke him in. He's quite a hunting dog. That's when I started getting interested in hunting. And one of my classmates, his name was Ken Foley. His father ran a sporting goods store. Now I'm at Canisius High School. I'm a sophomore at Canisius High School, 15 years old. And so I said, I wanted to buy a 22. Now, my parents were, they were too gung-ho about all this stuff. I'm the only one in the family who wanted a gun. So, anyway, I had a newspaper roof. And if everybody paid me, I'd make $5 a week. I had 92 customers. And papers at that time were 3 cents a piece. It was a 6-day paper, so when I went to collect on Saturday, it was 18 cents. And I always had a few deadbeats, 3 or 4, and I'd never get all my $5. But anyway, I was doing the paper route, and I got a new customer one day. His name was Charles Eschner. And his daughter and my sister Margaret Mary were great friends. And he lived up on McKinley Parkway. So my route was all on Choate Avenue. And in order to deliver to him, I had to get to the end of the route, take there was a path, there was a vacant lot there, up to McKinley. And he was like the third house up in McKinley, so it wasn't bad. But anyway, I went down to Mrs. Down's store. All the papers were dropped off there for the newspaper boys. That's where you'd go to pick up your papers to deliver them. So one day I went in there and she said, Richard, the man that he was I can't think of his name. He was like head of all the newspaper boys with their routes. If you weren't doing a good job, he'd get somebody else. They really checked on you. So anyway, Mr. So-and-so wants to see you in the back room. I said, holy crap. So I went in the back, and I remember he was a pipe smoker. And he said, Richard, he said, you have a new customer. I said, I do. I said, who's that? He said, his name is Mr. Eschner. Oh, I said, I bet I know who he is. He lives on McKinley. He said, that's right. Well, he said, he's very particular about delivering the paper to him. So when you deliver the paper today, you'll meet him. And I said, I know a little bit about him, but I said, my sister and his daughter are great friends. So anyway, first day I got to the end of the route, and I walked up with the paper, and he's standing there waiting for me. So he says, you're Margaret Mary's son, a brother. I said, yes, Mr. Eschner. Well, he said, I'm going to tell you 3 things. He was real German. He says, number 1, you never walking my lawn. I said, yes, sir. He says, number two, he said, you place the paper right underneath my mailbox. There was a rack there. The papers to be placed in there. And number three, no later than 4:45 at night. Yes, sir. You got that? Okay. So anyway, I said, wow. But anyway, I did everything to please him. Sometimes if I was late, I would scurry down to the end, make sure his paper was there and thing. Then I would backtrack. Yes, and then sometimes I'd have a couple buddies delivering papers for me too. They'd help me. I'd tell them number, and they'd deliver the papers. So anyway, this all paid off for me. Unbeknownst to me, he did me a big favor. So when I got to be, got out of the paper route business, I was trying to get I graduated from high school, and I wanted to, I knew Curtis Wright, the aircraft factory, was hiring, so I took a bus and went out there, and oh my God, this was in 1941. And, it was, the employment office was just mobbed. They were handing out, not questionnaires, but, applications. They were handing applications out. So I'm making an application out on a guy's back. I mean, there was no place where you could lay it down. And I made my way up and handed it in. All you got was, well, we'll get back to you if there's an opening. So I went home and I told Margaret Mary and Mother. And anyway, Margaret Mary, I didn't know it. She went down to Eschner's maybe a day or two later. And Charlie was downstairs. He was some type, he operated out of his house. He was some kind of an industrial artist of some kind. He was very talented. And his big bedroom upstairs was his studio where he did all his work. He had no car. His lawn was just like a golf green. The house was immaculate. And his wife was a lovely lady. I'm kind of getting off track, but she used to walk down Sherwood Avenue, and when she'd come back, she'd do the shopping. She had 2 leather bags. I can see those, and they would be loaded. And I remember one day I went out, I was doing something, I said, Mrs. Eschner, give me one of those bags. I'll give you a hand. Oh, no, Richard. She said, no. No, I said, come on. They were heavy. She'd walk so far and have to put them down. You know, the German husband, he was a son of a gun. But I'll tell you what he did for me. So anyway, she was a lovely lady. So anyway, Margaret Mary's visiting with the Margaret Eschner. And Margaret said, I heard Rich went out to Curtis Wright. She said he didn't have any luck. It's all kinds of people with applications. Charlie's in there reading the paper. He's happened to be down. Margaret Mary said he was selling them downstairs. He was always upstairs. And then he put the paper down. He said, you say Richard went out there and couldn't get a job? Oh, no, Mr. Escher. She said, there was just, he said, a couple of hundred people in there. He said, I'll tell you what, you have Richard come down and see me in 2 days. So now, see, I'm 18 years old. And, holy man, so I go down and ring the doorbell. And now, this time, I've been doing a lot of hunting. And I was getting a lot of pheasants. And one day before he had asked me to come down, he said, anytime you ever get any pheasants, bring them here and the missus will cook them. I'll have you and Peggy over for dinner. And I said, no, I'll dress them out. I said, you don't. No, I said, I'll dress them out. So anyway, I did. I brought him pheasants. But anyway, when he called me down and he said, come on in. Well, you should have seen the letters that he wrote about me. Oh, gee. I said, I thought, is this me? Oh, yeah, he's well disciplined. He does this and that. And oh, great letter. And now he said, he folded up, put in an envelope, put this guy, he was the big mason, Mr. Reschner. And the fellow that ran the employment for Curtis was a big mason, and they were in the same lodge. And that now I'm 18, and I said, oh, this is what I used to hear. If you just know somebody, you can get in. See, how did he get in here? So he said, when you go there, you make sure he gets this letter. Don't hand it to anybody. So I got up to I made my way through the line, got up to the wooden railing. He said, what can I do for you, young fella? I said, I have a letter here from Mr. So-and-so, I forget his name. Well, he said, no. I said, I have to give it to him. And the guy was kind of startled when I said that. See, all right, he said, and he swung the gate open. And I walked back, and he walked back with me, and then he took the letter in, and I heard him say, young man, come in here. Oh, Christ, bingo, I was hired right there. And all those poor slobs waiting out there. And I think, and that's when it dawned on me. You got to have the key to the door to get in, see. So that was some big thing I learned about life at the tender age of 18. And then from then on, I worked at Curtis. And then I was at Curtis about, I'll tell you, it was November of 41. And a month later, World War II was declared. And the thing I remember about it had a huge parking lot. And I was lucky to get into a carpool. There was a fellow who lived on Whitfield, the next street. He had a car, and he was driving. They all worked at Curtis. And he said, yeah, we can fit you in. And I was working the right shift, the day shift. So anyway, I remember we got out of the car in the parking lot. And when you got into the factory, you went into a tunnel. You went down a stairway into a tunnel. Then you took different stairways up to your stations. And as we're approaching the tunnel, there's a soldier on top of the entrance. He's got a machine gun. And it was December the 8th. And never forgot that. I said, my God, we're at war. So I was in the factory, and at about 10 o'clock in the morning, the PA system made a big announcement. In a few moments, we're going to hear from the President of the United States, and we're shutting all the machinery down. I'm telling you, Tom, you couldn't believe it. You know how noisy the factory can be. All of a sudden, everything died down. You could hear a pin drop. FDR came in. Oh, he had that voice that was kind of magnetic voice. He'd make you listen. And I asked Congress to declare war against the Empire of Japan. And, oh my God. Well, anyway, he talked for I don't know how many minutes, and it was all approved, of course. And then all the machinery started up. And that's how I remember World War II. Well, the other thing I remember, my brother John and I went to a movie on December 7th, the Shea Seneca. And we come out of the movie, walking home, and just gabbing. We got in the house, and we're making a kind of loud noise. My mother's telling us, keep quiet, keep quiet. We had a radio, and my father and mother were right around the radio. I wondered, what the heck's going on? And finally, my mother came back, and she said, the Japanese have just attacked Pearl Harbor. We looked around, where's Pearl Harbor? She said, it's somewhere in Hawaii. And that's when we found out about World War II. So that was a historic moment there. So that's how that, and being in the factory when Roosevelt spoke. What else?